Dear students, we now will be discussing a very sensitive topic which is related to everyone's life. We say that today's life is full of stress. The moment you get up early morning, stress starts building up right from the morning till we go to bed in the night. This stress is creating lot of problems, physical as well as psychological, for the individuals, both at the workplace and at home. We will be concentrating more on the stress that causes at the workplace and how it becomes difficult for a manager or for the expert in the organizational behavior to manage the stress of the individuals. It is not just the stress, but it goes at times beyond that, and individuals burn out. We will be also discussing what is burning out, but at the same time it is necessary that from burning out we have to come back to balance as well. And so managing this stress and coming back to normal, enjoying your work, enjoying your life, and accepting the things as they come to you is a very, very essential part of everyone's life. While we will be discussing this stress management topic, the learning objectives will be, after going through this session, you will be able to define what is the meaning of stress. Many a times we use the term stress, but what exactly it means, we are unable to define it precisely. So by going through this particular session, you will be able to know what is stress, define exactly what is stress, which will help you to find out whether you are stressed or not. We also, after going through this session, will be able to identify the causes of stress. Why this stress starts building up, and how we can set aside these causes or eliminate at least the impact of them. That is our another objective. How an individual handles his or her stress. And we have to examine how this stress is being handled at the individual level. What are the effects of stress? Why we have to handle this stress? How it affects our physical, mental health, or how it affects our efficiency level while working. So what are the various effects of stress? And we also will be able to suggest some of the strategies the organizational behavior expert or a manager can use for minimizing the stress level in the organizations. Stress has become the buzzword of today's lifestyle. Particularly after globalization, the life has become so fast. In the last decade, for example, life has become so fast that everyone is stressed, right from small child to the senior citizen. Everyone is stressed, and therefore everyone is concerned about stress. If you find any TV program, or if you find articles, various articles in newspapers or in magazines, you will find that many doctors, psychologists, experts, yoga experts, spiritual leaders, they are talking about stress, and they are talking as to how to handle this stress. And therefore in today's time, handling stress or managing stress has become a major concern for everyone. Most of the people face work-related stress. There are many reasons why we feel work-related stress. For example, a person is required to do a work which is not of his liking. Stress may start building up. A person may be able to do, but if he is unwilling to work, then also stress start building up. Particularly, the organizational culture and the environment that is prevailing in today's organizations is creating more stress for the individuals to work in the organization. For example, after globalization, alliances, mergers, acquisitions, these have become very common practice. And with this, the executive level stress is increasing at a very fast rate. Managing such organizations which have global presence and where people are working from all over the globe, from all the countries over the world, handling these people, managing these people, getting work done from these people, all this is creating a lot of stress. Another example can be advanced technology. The technology explosion that is still going on, and we started in India particularly last decade, and still we are in the process of that technology explosion. Learning new things, getting techno-savvy is creating what is called as techno-stress. For example, in most of the organizations today, all the operations are computerized and IT applications are used for handling the work, even day-to-day work. People who are beyond the age of 50 or 40 and who are working with the organization, they are finding it difficult to cope up with the technical know-how or the technology that is being used in their day-to-day operations, and this is creating lot of techno stress on them. These are the few examples apart from the regular examples that, for example, simple reasons also create stress. Whether I'll get the bus, whether I'll be able to catch my office. Even these small things are creating stress. Whether there will be a mega block, for example, in Mumbai, and I may get stuck in the traveling itself, and then I may not be able to reach my workplace or my home at right time. So apart from all these stressors which are there, the new stressors, as I have said, are the globalization, which is a stressor that has created new types of stress. Techno stress, as I was telling you, has created three major problems. Loss of privacy. Even though we have all the safety measures, I always am under stress that whether my password, my banking code will be decoded by somebody and my banking operations are in danger, or my emails can be checked by someone else. Now this loss of privacy is creating all the stress, or whether my corporate data, secrets of my corporate data will be stolen by somebody. This technology has eroded face-to-face contact between the people. A person, many a times today we allow the people to work from home. There is no face-to-face contact, and many issues, many problems which can be resolved through face-to-face contacts, they remain hidden, they remain under the carpet, and they cause stress. Every person today is required to acquire new skills. maybe managerial skills, maybe technical skills, but work related skills are upgraded every day. And this learning something new every day is for a person. This stress today is called as epidemic. The reason is very simple. This is spreading all over the world. It's not only in India, or it's not only in a particular city or in a particular town, but all over the world. This epidemic of stress is spreading at a very fast rate, causing many problems for the individuals. And the health of individuals, society health, is in danger, as they call it, as the researchers call it, and therefore they call this stress as epidemic. It has a deteriorating impact on employees and their families, but at the same time, this stress on the individuals, people working in the organization, it is becoming very costly for the organizations as well. A stressed employee cannot give you the best of his ability. His efficiency level comes down, and the organization has to pay a heavy price for his efficiency or her efficiency, or the stress that the individual is bearing. The work related stress, or the stress at the workplace, is increasing at a very fast rate. For example, today we are talking about sexual harassment at the workplace, a new kind of stress that is building up both on male as well as female. Research has shown that it is not only the female who face this kind of harassment, but also male employees face this kind of harassment. New kind of stressors, new causes of stress are coming up, and the cost that the organizations are paying for this stress is increasing at a very fast rate. After discussing so much on stress and saying that stress has become an epidemic, we must know what is stress and what it is not. Usually when we talk about stress, it is always a negative meaning attached to it. And we always say that it is something which is bad. Actually, this is distress. We call it as stress, but actually this is called as form of a distress, which has a negative connotation, or which has a negative meaning. But surprisingly, and you will be surprised to know that there is always, or there is also, a positive, pleasant side of stress, which is caused by good things. This is a form of, as they call it, eustress. EU is a Greek term which means good. And so stress can be good also. It is not necessary that always stress creates bad effect on the individual. What are the examples of bad stress? Bad stress or distress, as we have seen the term, may be due to office politics, particularly when there is gender discrimination, racial discrimination, or favoritism. We say that there is lot of politics in a particular organization, and certain level of politics do exist in every organization. And this office politics, organizational politics, may cause stress for the individuals. Red tapeism is another reason or example of bad stress, particularly in a country like India, where corruption is at a very high level. Red tapeism causes stress. An entrepreneur, for example, who has a good stress of meeting his own goals, has a bad stress when he is faced by red tapeism or by corruption. And so on the one hand he has a good stress that he can accomplish his goals, that he can or she can come out with new ideas. At the same time he faces bad stress due to corruption. At times people who are working in the organization, maybe for any reason, because there are no higher positions, because there are other reasons why the person cannot be promoted, or if the person wants promotion he has to accept the transfer and go to another place. For any such reasons, if the career of a person gets stuck, then also the person faces lot of stress. The person is unable to leave the job, but at the same time he is not able to proceed, go further in his career, and then the stress, bad stress or distress as we call it, starts setting in. However, as I have said earlier, there are examples of good stress also. Many a times a person gets a very challenging job or additional responsibility. Now how a person looks at that particular assignment? If the person looks at that particular assignment as a challenge, then it is a good stress. The person is under pressure, but at the same time the person is very happy that he is being given a job, additional responsibility to fulfill his aspirations or to give justice to the abilities that the person possesses. At times the person may get a very high quality assignment. A company or an organization, for example, is entering into a contract with some company in another country, and if a person gets a place in the delegation that the organization sends to that country for discussions, this is a very high quality assignment which is given to a person. Or even within the organization, suppose the company decides, the organization decides to implement Six Sigma, and the person is given an assignment to train his people in the organization for Six Sigma. Such high quality assignments are good stresses. The person has to work a lot. The person has to conduct day and night training programs. That creates the stress, but then the person is satisfied that he is being given some high quality assignments. And at times time pressures are there. Time pressure can cause both distress as well as stress. Some people get stressed, distressed as I can call it, when there is a time pressure and you have to complete the assignment in a given period of time. But some people, when there is a time limit given, they take it as a challenge and they feel that if my time is given for 3 days, I'll complete this task in 2.5 days. This is an example of good stress. Now we come to the precise definition of stress. The definition runs like this. It is the interaction of the individual with the environment. Every individual is continuously interacting with the environment around him or her. It may be in the house, it may be in the public places, it may be in the organization. And when he is interacting with the environment around him, he gives a response to that environment. And this response, this adaptive response given by the individual is the consequence of any external action, situation or event. How the person will respond, whether he will be adaptive to that particular situation or event or action, will depend on how he interacts with that particular situation, with that particular environment. What is job stress? Job stress is a condition that arises from the interaction of people and their job. So when a person is handling his or her job, how he is interacting with the job, whether that job is as per his qualifications, abilities, liking, all these things, they matter. And then all this will decide how the person will interact with the job. These jobs are characterized by change within the people that force them to deviate from the normal functioning. At times, if the person is not able to adapt himself to the job that he is being assigned, he may not be able to handle that job properly, or he may deviate from that particular job, and which may call stress. In short, so we can say that what is stress? It is an adaptive response to an external situation. So, what is the situation? In which situation the person is and how he is responding to that situation, and his physical, psychological and behavioral deviations which cause because of this interaction, that is called as stress. What stress is not? Stress is not only anxiety. Stress goes beyond anxiety. A person is anxious about certain things when the person gets a new assignment, or when the person is joining a new job, or for the first time the person is entering the cabin of his boss. Now anxiety is there for all these things, but anxiety is not stress. Anxiety is at much less stage, lower stage than what we call as stress. Stress also is not simply nervous tension. A person may get tensed. A person has to propose vote of thanks. He may get tensed. But that is not, again, that is at a very lower level, and we cannot call it as stress. Stress, therefore, is not something which is always damaging, bad, or to be avoided. What is important is how you handle the situation, how a person is handling the environment to which he is or she is interacting. If the person is able to handle that environment properly and interact with that environment in the right spirit, there may not be stress. What is burnout? At times, stress is quite normal and healthy. But when a person loses his ability to cope with the stress and begins let himself down, then the stage comes of burnout, which is very dangerous. If the stress reaches beyond acceptable level and the person is unable to cope up with that, and he starts facing certain physical and psychological problems, the stage of burning out starts. Burnout may start, or burnout may be the consequence of losing a sense of basic purpose. Why I am living? Why I am doing this job? What is the use of all these things? So a person in this burnout stage starts losing sense of basic purpose and fulfillment of the work that the person is doing. And therefore it is necessary at times, burnout, when a person sets into the stage of burnout, the person really needs help, or the person he has to handle that burnout stage properly, either himself or with the help of any consultant. Many a times this burnout creates a sense of isolation and feeling of lost control. So a person may start feeling that he has lost control on everything, and then the person is unable to cope up, or the person is unable to work, and the burnout stage may make the person stop from working. What are the causes of stress? Here you can see in the figure, the diagram that is given, there can be number of reasons, causes of stress. The outer circle says extra-organizational stressors, which are beyond the organization. Maybe family stress, maybe every day the person has to travel for 2 hours or 3 hours, and that too in a very crowded train or bus. Now these are extra-organizational stressors. Or the person is under fear that there may be a terrorist attack. Now these are extra-organizational stressors. Then there are organizational stressors. Within the organization, maybe the person is required to report to 2 bosses. Maybe the communication channel is not properly designed in the organization. Maybe the person's job is not clearly defined. Maybe the person's authority and responsibility is not clearly defined. There may be organizational politics. There may be very few chances in that organization to grow. So all these can be called as organizational stressors. Then there are group stressors. In every organization, the employee is working in a group. How that group is, how the individual is able to interact with the group, and whether the individual and the group members are on the same wavelength. This will decide whether the person will be able to give adaptive response to the group environment. Then there are individual stressors. The personality of a person, the personality traits of a person, or the attitude of the person may create certain stress. How the person looks at certain things, how he perceives things, that may also result in stress. And then there is job related stress. The person may not have liking for the job, or technically he may not be qualified for the job, but still he is required to do that particular job. Or the job is very tedious, monotonous, and therefore creates stress. So there can be number of reasons or causes of this kind of stress. As we have seen earlier, extra-organizational stressors are social stressors or technological stress. So in the society, when we are with our relatives, with our friends, or with some other group, maybe some reasons may create the stress. And technological changes, as we have seen earlier also, due to fast growing technology, the person is required to handle so many equipments, and that may create stress, particularly if the person is beyond the age of 30 or 40. Globalization, we have already seen how globalization has added to our stress. Family, children, their education, their settlement, their job, any major physical problem in the family. Now all this can cause stress. Economic and financial conditions. very much related to family background and also to the job. The financial problems of a person may create stress for him or his. Race and class. Again, you will find that it's not only in India, all over the world, racial differences or class differences are creating stresses. Residential or community conditions, where the person is staying, what is the location of that housing society or a colony where the person is staying, how the people are there in that particular building or that particular colony. Now all this and how the person responds to that environment, this also is a reason. Then organizational stress, as we have seen earlier, administrative politics, organizational structure and design, organizational processes, the person has to depend, there is interdependency of jobs, and therefore unless earlier person is able to complete the job, the next person is unable to complete the job. And if the earlier person for some reason is unable to complete the job in a stipulated time or as per the quality norms, then the next person gets stressed. So organizational processes, when there is lot of interdependency of jobs, stress, the chance of stress is more. In any organization, how the working conditions are provided to the people. If there is lot of noise, lot of dust, or lot of disturbances due to any reason, the chances of person getting more stress are more. Group stressors. If the group is not of the same culture, of the same thinking process, then also there is every chance of person getting stressed. Lack of social support. If the group is not getting the support from other groups, within the group, people may have, or the members of the group may have cohesiveness, but other groups may not be very supportive or the boss may not be supportive. In such a case also, chances are there that a person may get stress. Group level dynamics and group level interaction, that is also a reason. How formal and informally people are interacting within the group, that will decide whether there will be a stressful condition or not. Individual stressors. As we have seen earlier, this is personality trait or attitude or perception of a person that causes the stress. There are two types of personalities, as we can see them in the personality discussion. There are type A profiles, there are type A personalities, type A persons, who are always moving, who walk very rapidly, who are very impatient, who measure success by quantity, how much I am getting, how much salary I am getting. They are very competitive, and the competition goes beyond healthy competition. And they constantly feel pressurized by time limit. There may not be any time limit, but they themselves create the time limit for themselves. These are type A personality persons. And these kind of persons, there is more chance of getting stress. And then there are B type of persons, B type of personalities. They are not bothered about time. They take their own time to complete the assignment. They are patient. They have lot of patience. And they wait for the right time and right things to happen. They do the job, but it is not always the winning spirit, or they do the job for their own creation, for their own pleasure. They relax. They have their own ways of relaxing themselves. They keep no deadlines for themselves, that I must do this within this time. And they are never in a hurry. For these type of people, chances of getting stressed or burnout are very, very less. What are the effects of stress? After looking at what stress is and what stress is not, and after looking at the various causes of stress, now let us go to the effects of stress. Stress creates physical problems, psychological problems, and behavioral problems. Physical problems are illness. Their immune system gets affected, and so they get infection quite easy. They get blood pressure or diabetes. They get muscular problems like headaches is common, or back pain. Many people who have a lot of stress, they complain about back pain. Digestive system gets affected. And so a person, we have seen type A personality persons, a person who takes lot of stress like this may face any of these or all of these physical problems. What are the psychological effects? The person is always angry, even for a small thing where there is no need to get outburst. The person is angry. The person develops anxiety to a very high level, because of which the person is unable to respond in a very positive way to the situation. Anxiety, if it crosses a particular limit, the person may get into depression, and then coming out of that depression becomes very, very difficult for the person. Boredom, the person doesn't like the job, going to the office, going to the organization. He always complains that he is getting bored. And nervousness. So whatever work is told, whatever work is given, the person gets nervous whether I will be able to do it or not. These are all psychological effects. Then there are behavioral problems. A person in distress is sleepless. He doesn't get sound sleep. He may start drinking or smoking, or he may increase that. Either he may stop eating or he may eat more. Both are equally bad. Or the person may start remaining absent from the job. These are behavioral problems. Now, we have seen that when there is stress or distress, a person faces lot of problems, and all these problems can exist at the same time. The person may have physical, psychological and behavioral, all types of problems. And so it is necessary that coping with stress is very, very important. How to handle this stress? We must have some idea as to how I can handle this stress. There can be two categories of handling this stress or coping up with this stress. An individual can cope up with the stress on his or her own. And the organization, knowing that employees may get stressed in their organization, the organizational behavior experts or the managers may adopt certain strategies to minimize the stress level. What are the individual strategies? And these are very common and everyone can try them. The first is exercise. Physical exercise is must. Today we talk a lot about yoga. doing regularly yoga, going for a morning walk, jogging, doing some or playing some sports, whichever is liked. Now all this can reduce the stress. Physical exertion, now in today's times, most of the operations, most of the processes are computerized, and therefore the physical work that the person has to put in has come to the minimum possible level. And therefore physical exertion, utilization of the energy, burning of the calories is not there to the level at which it is expected, which causes stress. And therefore regular exercise is one strategy which individuals can adopt. Relaxation. Now every individual may have different relaxation techniques. When there is a lunch break or a tea break, take out 5 minutes or 10 minutes and find out, a person should find out what is his relaxation method. If a person listens to soft music or classical music, for example, the person may get relaxed. A person takes rounds in the corridor, person may get relaxed. A person may see a very good picture on his laptop or on his computer, gets relaxed. So what is the relaxation, or what is the way I can get relaxed? Everyone has to identify his or her own relaxation method and adopt that. And if that relaxation is done regularly between the working hours, during lunch break, during tea break, lot of stress can be reduced. Behavioral self-control. Control anger. Even if you don't like a particular person or a person's comment, control your anger. So self-control, control your anxiety. Stop smoking or drinking, or at least reduce it. Now these are the behavioral things which can be controlled by an individual. Networking. Engage into more friends or find out with whom you can share your thoughts, your ideas, and by this networking you can really relax. Apart from these individual strategies, coping strategies for stress, many organizations today are engaged in developing strategies or adopting strategies to eliminate the stress level of its employees. These strategies may include organizational redesigning. Proper design of the structure of the organization is must. A person must know what is his job, his authority, his responsibility, and to whom he is reporting, and the communication must be very smooth, and the accessibility of higher authority is a must. If these things are taken care of in designing the structure of the organization, many stressors can be avoided. There can be employee assistance program. Particularly the HRD department, HRD can take this particular initiative, and they can have the employee assistance program. The employee may have any problem. It may be his own personal or family problem, individual problem, but still he needs to be properly counseled, assisted in helping him to identify what causes stress and what relaxes him or her. And this kind of employee assistance program may help the organization to reduce the stress of an individual. Work-family initiatives. In many organizations today, families of the people, of the employees, are invited on certain occasions, and there is lot of interaction. between the families and the management of the organization. This is the way how the families come to know where his or the family member is working and in what culture, in what environment they are working, which can reduce lot of stress for the employee. Then there can be some other activities like counseling, yoga. Many organizations today are asking employees to come 15 minutes earlier to the office so that there can be common meditation program. Here I must give you one example. In Japan, in most of the organizations, employees are required and they are asked to come half an hour before their scheduled time. So if the shift of a person starts at 9 o'clock, the person has to report at 8:30 and they are taken to a common hall where meditation and few exercises are done, and after that exactly 5 minutes to 9 the person reaches his table or his machine, whatever work the person is doing, or his computer desk. For 5 minutes he just sits, relaxes and then starts working. And this particular method, which is being followed in most of the Japanese organizations, has given the result that the stress level is brought to the minimum possible level and the person's productivity increases. So many such initiatives can also be taken by the organization. And so in any organization, it is necessary that the manager identifies the reasons for the stress, the causes of the stress, effects of the stress, and then in order to reduce that stress level of an individual, of the employees, certain measures are taken as corporate strategy. We are coming now to the summary of what we have discussed in this particular session. Though we have said that stress is not always bad, but then it is necessary that any organization or individual should be free from stress. And this is a major challenge before organizational behavior experts in today's times. Whether it is at individual level or whether it is at organizational level, the individual or the organization should take steps to bring down the level of stress. If the individual level, as we have discussed, exercise, relaxation techniques, all these are taken care of, I think even though the experts and many doctors believe and they are scared that this stress epidemic is spreading at a very fast rate, we can control it by taking appropriate measures, at least at the individual level, and see to it that as an individual we are not distressed or we are not stressed or burn out, and we take proper measures. Our organizations also, the managers, executives who are working in the organizations, they should also take every care to take or to ensure that proper environment is being created in the organization which minimizes the stress level, job stress level of the individuals. I believe that after going through this particular session, you will be able to identify your own causes of stress and your own causes or your own effects of stress, and also you will be able to identify how and what strategies individually you can adopt for reducing or eliminating the stress. And if you are able to do this after going through this session, I think we will get a very healthy society. All the best to all of you, and believe that you will not allow yourself to burn out, but you will lead a very happy job and personal life. Thank you very much.